resource in various premier hotels at Taj, like the Taj View Hotel Agra, the Taj Mahal Hotel New Delhi, and Taj Residency Lucknow. Mr. Singh remained associated with Manav Rachna University, Faridabad, as Director Industry Interaction and Professor from November 2014 to April 2019. Mr. Jaideep Singh is currently a Director, JS4 Consulting, and conducts soft skill training and mentoring. A very go-getter kind of professional, as I know him from almost 15 years now. Mr. Sanjeev K. Nair, an accomplished hotel industry professional, also has about 35 years of diverse experience in projects, operations, business planning, and team management. He has recently retired as the head of Welcome Heritage Hotels. He's a brand, Welcome Heritage Hotel is a brand which everybody knows. It's been established in 1997 and currently they operate in 40 different locations. He's a graduate from Hotel College, University of Belgrade, and he started his career with the Ashok Group of Hotels, where he gained experience in all the areas of hotel operations. He was able to leverage his professional strengths in the expansion of the brand and has represented in it at various levels. He's well known in the industry, both hospitality and travel. He's an extremely amiable individual and a firm believer of adapting technology to enhance guest experience and ease operations without undermining the importance of soft skills. He's a hotelier driven by passion, and we are very proud to say that he's our HHC member as well. Anup Sequeira, I'm very proud to get him on the panel today. He's my ex-boss as well. He's a hospitality industry professional with almost 3 decades of experience. He specializes in quick service, casual dining segment, and he served as CEO for global brands in India, namely Starbucks, Nando's, Booster Juice, and Pizza Corner. He, as an entrepreneur, he's built and operated his own brand as well, which has been called as Currylicious. Anup is an articulate professional with a high ability to adapt to change and challenges, and has used these abilities to excel in startup ventures. Anup has led many teams to success with the belief that individuals and teams deliver their best, and he has a very, very unique style of leadership. As a trainer and coach, he's driven with a strong desire to contribute to the transformation process of people, and he specializes in leadership, behavioral skills, management programs. Until now, he's almost facilitated 100 training workshops across various sectors, including FMCG, hospitality, retail, and many more. And I'm also proud to announce HMS for being our hospitality partner, brand association partner for our episode number 18. HMS is an online hospitality learning school which has been conceptualized by Manish Gupta, and Manish is the brain behind it. He's currently based in Myanmar, and he's also the CFO of many hotels, around 15 hotels in Myanmar under the brand Hatu Hospitality. Under his initiative of Hotel Management School, he wants to bring various courses under different yana together for the betterment of the students and even the professionals who can actually pick up those skills and learn them for a better them. So we would be definitely hearing a word from our episode partner HMS in few minutes after the discussion points get over. So now, not to keep you waiting, we would just start our discussion points with our esteemed panel. And as the topic goes, it's very, very close to us. We want to have more insight on this particular topic because every recession, and so is COVID, it has presented numerous challenges for every country. It's made us difficult, to survive and strive, but they have also ushered an era of opportunities for new age industries to sprout and shape consumer behavior for decades. So the global recession, which has been induced by COVID-19 currently, will fundamentally change the way humanity works and socializes for years to come. So having said that, I mean the world of work will now change for many years to come. The COVID-19 crisis will act as a catalyst to unprecedented changes in every industry. And this actually goes for every industry because every industry will be forced to reform, restructure in order to transform into the new realities that will now emerge. Operations will have to be carried out with minimum number of manpower, and needless to say, it will pose a huge challenge to the entire workforce employed with this industry. As there has been a call to change the operating procedures as well as professional, who have to go through a transformation of mindset and a new approach towards one's job has to emerge. So now we will be taking forward, a few questions which the esteemed panel will throw light and enlighten us. Because in this platform, I think everybody who's been coming on this platform from some time now knows that we are committed to contribute to all hospitality professionals across all formats to empower them, to enable them powerfully to deal with this situation. So, going straight on the different discussion points for the day, my first question goes to Mr. Nair. Mr. Nair, I would really, want you to throw some light on the question, or the discussion point which we can take forward and enlighten all our participants today as to what is the new normal that has been created and how will this change our culture in hospitality. Over to you, Mr. Nair.
Unmute, please.
Hi, thanks, Tarun. Good afternoon, everybody. I think I would like to take this opportunity to thank Team HSC for organizing this episode as part of their ongoing series of Reboot Hospitality. And it's been a pleasure to be part of this panel today. I think already too much has been said in the last 3-4 months regarding the current pandemic, which is something which has been unprecedented in the recent times, and has hit major impact on all the economies of the world. And as we know, the travel and tourism industry is the first to get hit and the last to recover. Tourism in India, if we say, is one of the largest. It is one of the largest economic multipliers in India. It nearly contributes about 10% to the GDP. And as per the recent surveys which the various hotel associations have conducted, I think the major impact, the financial impact of this is going to be about 15 lakh crores this financial year. And it is expected that the cumulative job losses will be for around 4 crores in both the organized and unorganized sectors. I think it is something like a whitewater change. It is something, and today we are in an unpredictable market. We'll have to accept this situation as it is beyond anybody's control. So instead of expanding our energies and worrying about and complaining about it, what we have to do is to turn attention to those challenges with opportunities in which each one of the concerned can act upon. I would say this is the season of survival of the fittest, as most of the organizations are going to move towards the leaner management setup or leaner setups, which will have till the time at least the normalcy returns. Now, when will the normalcy returns? It's something anybody's wild guess. Somebody says 6 months, somebody says 9 months, somebody says 2 years. But yes, it's going to take some time. So what do we do in that time? I think we are entering an era of agile workforce, which has to be made up of flexible workers and roles who can adapt to the requirements of the business in which they are, whether it's hotels, restaurant, travel agents. There's been a saying, that your attitude decides your altitude. This is the time when one does not have to feel demoralized by the situation around. One has to value. You see, I would say that the value remains of the individual remains same. The conditions, the outside conditions have changed, but the value remains same. It's something like, a 500 rupees note. No matter it's a crisp note or a crumpled note, the value of 500 rupees remains 500 only. So that's the belief each and every employee or each and every workforce should have, that yes, I believe in myself and I'm going to come out of this. I think what one has to do is sit down and do a self-SWOT. Where is it? What are my weaknesses? How do I take it forward from there? How do I cope with my current scenario? What are the new technological solutions available in the business environment? Do I know them? Can I learn them? Can I enhance my skill? Can I do multitasking? Because the way things are happening now, multitasking and multi-skilling is the languages or the words which we have been listening in the industry for the last 5, 7, 10 years. But I think now is the time appropriate that this will really get implemented across the industries, across the hotel verticals, whether it's a smaller hotel or a large hotel. And I think this is the time that one has to expand and enhance the skills. How do you take each challenge? Is that, first of all, I think you need to organize yourself. You need to see how can you network within your own industry. How can you update your skills? I think the role of, I also like to add here, the role of the skill development centers. I think the learning centers or the coaching centers, one for example, which Anup is, practicing, that how will they evolve over themselves, over the current environment, and see how can they help the various workforce which is available in the industry. One job which will have a paradigm shift will be the sales job. That could be, instead of a regular job, I'm sure it will turn into a productive based remuneration. These are some of the points which I think come to my mind at the start of the conversation. And I'm sure the other panelists will take it forward, and we'll see how the discussion goes forward from there. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. Well said. That self SWOT is very, very important for the employees now. And believing in yourself and then developing yourself further is the need of the hour. So we will take this up further with Mr. Jaideep Singh. What attributes you think that the professionals would have to generate in order to be more employable and sustain themselves? As a cue which Mr. Nair has just left. So what is your approach on that, Mr. Jaideep Singh? Please unmute yourself.
What Mr. Nair has talked about it, upskilling or reskilling is going to be something which is going to be important for the times to come now. Though for the past decade, we have been talking about skilling, upskilling very often in the hospitality sector, and not only in the hospitality sector, in auto sector, because I've been training across in real estate sector. Uh, this has been something which is important. Now, let me come back to you on uh, upskilling leading to a self-supervision. More you know, more you grow. There is no end of gaining knowledge. Likewise, no end of self-growth also. Self-growth develops maturity. That's something which is important. In hotels, it's the maturity that counts because that maturity creates a decision-making approach and it creates miracles then. Employees need to be very honest for self-analysis, and they also have to work upon the areas where they need to reskill or upskill. That's going to be very, very important now, post-COVID. The mentors must adopt an approach of understanding and not judging. That is very important. When I say mentors, as per David Nowaske, also how leaders lead, it is very, very important to stop judging the people. It is very important to understand the people, those who are working, and develop them thereafter. And it is importance of power of recognition based culture has to be created in the organization. It is not enough to be just good at what you do. It is important to be good human because that's going to be ultimately decisive for the customer to decide whether I should come to this place or not. Because that's going to be the crux. Because post COVID, the customer is going to be very, very chary of coming to your hotel. And in fact, every hotel will be starting, it will be almost like a launch of a hotel. Every hotel will be starting afresh. Now, the competition is going to be immense, and therefore, this part or this chapter will be very, very important. So, the employees really need to have built, needs to, will be required to build trust. At the same point in time, the managers or the leaders who are there in the organization also have to build trust. Now, let's talk about what are the pros and cons. I don't see much of a cons as such in this entire approach. Uh, it will definitely improve the health of the organization in terms of it will build a lot of culture. It will also build a lot of trust and confidence in the employees, the workforce, as well as in the customers also, and it will develop a lot of collaborative approach. So to answer to your question is that it has to be a two-way process, two-way communication, so that one is able to build trust and confidence not only within your own workforce but in the customers who will be coming to your hotel and will be observing your performance and various other things. And as what it has been said by Mr. Nair also, every single person has to do a SWOT, because this is a beautiful time for doing the SWOT to understand what are the opportunities today, what are the threats I have, what are the things I need to really look upon, so that ultimately I'm able to deliver to the customer and as well as to my stakeholder.
Very rightly said. And very rightly also said, what you said was very, very, I think, something to ponder on, that there is no end to self growth.
Absolutely.
The more you know, the more you grow, and there is no end to self growth. So it's just that you need to be open to it. And I think this period, when we are not in a hush, this is the best time for us to ponder over and think back and work on our own development as well, so that we are absolutely crisp in terms of being picked by the manpower which is being required for the future hotels or the place of work, right? So I think from here we'll take it on with Anup. In terms of hierarchy levels, because if we know that every industry has certain hierarchy levels, and we've been maintaining that for many, many years. So how do you think that these are
operating? So it's not something that's going to be very easy. Yes, we've been faced with the situation of the pandemic. We've been pushed to the wall, and we have no other choice but to change. But is that change really going to come along magically? I don't think so. There's going to be a lot of efforts by the leadership teams in the hotels to see how productivity can be achieved with lesser layers in the system, and how people will be able to adopt to this. And there's a lot of training, unlearning, and retraining that's going to happen. If you could also allow me to kind of bring about that slide that I had on the pyramid, which I can elaborate in a few minutes and talk to you as to what my thoughts are and what's the paradigm shift that will be taken as far as certain attributes of professionals in the industry are concerned. So I kind of look at, with this knowledge, can I go up to my boss? Can I go up to my employer and tell them that, hey, this is where I can contribute some more? That's the question that will arise. So skill sets. Yes, I think every professional in our industry has a certain skill set, but is it only the skill set that helps me to do my work properly? Or I'm also looking at skill set that helps me manage people better, delegate better, and I'm able to prioritize my work. I'm able to build high performance teams. So if there is something that people have done in the last 3 months, either attended a course or gone through some, whether they paid and invested in themselves, it'd be interesting to know when they come back to the workplace, how are they able to contribute and go up to their boss and saying that, hey, I have enhanced my skills and I'd like to contribute in this area. So when I look at these two factors, and if I've gained a lot, I think as a professional, I should have that ability to go up there and take ownership and saying that here, in this new situation, we have challenges to that we have to go together. So I'm willing to be more a partner than just an employee. And for that to happen, attitude is of absolute importance. And I would, in fact, even give it a higher score than knowledge and skills, because I can pay out there and go online, do a course, I can gain knowledge and skills, but attitude has to come from within. So the core change in professionals that will be expected is the attitude to get into the new normal. How am I going to have a different mindset? I may have had a fixed mindset saying that I'm very used to doing this one particular kind of job. But if tomorrow there is a demand at my workplace that I need to look at other skills and help out in other areas of the work, I think my attitude will be the one that will define whether I'm going to do it or not. So that's my perspective there.
Very, very true. Because
may I add one more thing here? What just now Anup has talked about is attitude, skills, and knowledge, which we call it as ASK. I would like to add KASH, which I talked earlier also. It is knowledge, attitude, skills, and last thing is habit. In hospitality industry, it's a habit which really makes a world of difference. Anupji has talked about is the fact that if all there is a demand of another job which I need to do, I need to develop a knowledge, I need to develop an attitude, but at the same point in time, I need to have an attitude of not saying no. Understanding, because if at all you have that attitude of not saying no, if at all you have that habit that I must do it, I must learn it, probably you will be able to deliver. And that's what exactly is required today. Post COVID, you need to change your habit. Don't get only limited to one frame. You need to come out of that frame and deliver the best whatever is possible to and for you.
Very true. Very true. So I think attitude, habit.
I was trying to tell you initially also that yes, attitude plays a very important role. But we were also discussing before this seminar started that how this work from home has really changed the way people are carrying out work. It's something like pushing somebody in the swimming pool and when to make swim. No help, no assistance, nobody to ask. So that also acts as that linear hierarchy. You tend to take a decision, which maybe 3 months before that you were skeptical. You were not aware whether how to do or not do. And then I think these are kind of things which has really opened up. It's also given an employee kind of a freedom to operate upon.
Right, right. And another thing which has come up is that, we say this line quite often, creativity under the gun, right? So when you are under pressure, you create something really which is very, very different, or, something really big comes out of it. But I think change under the gun is not going to happen, as Anup said. It is not so magical. With steps which are very, very calculatively formed, and somebody has to guide, and then that change will come out. But until unless we don't have that attitude to be open to change, then nothing can be done. So this is a time to actually do our SWOT, think what we are be doing for future, and unlearn and be open to changes. So that is very important, the attitude, and then form the same thing in the form of a habit and do it consistently. Right. So we take this forward. Probably Mr. Jaideep can just throw light on this. What are the new dimensions which we've been talking about also in terms of leadership, ownership. But I think this word ownership will now have a new dimension, honestly, and the meaning is going to be changing. Ownership is a very generic word which is going to be coming up even for the employees. It's not merely owning the property, but it also holds importance from the employee's point of view. So, if you can just throw light, Mr. Jaideep Singh, on this.
In fact, you have said everything what I wanted to say. In fact, the question, that's one of the divine question. The time has come, Taran, to successfully create, align, and get employees to buy in the company culture. That's something which is important because it is not the ownership of the employees, but it is ownership top down. That is something important. COVID-19 for surely has clearly defined the importance of collaborative skills. One, employees having a positive attitude, what just now both my panelist member have also talked about, and willingness to serve the customer. That is very, very important. And with positive body language, because you will be serving from distance now. Very rarely you'll get an opportunity to communicate to the customer directly. But your body language has to communicate beautifully, and that's where the soft skills will play a very, very important role. Like I come from a theater sector also, since I'm associated with Akashvani Bhavan, New Delhi. I am a theater person, and this is what we have been taught, that from a distance you can communicate so beautifully that a person or a customer feels delighted. He feels, wow, that's a great place, and that can only happen if all the employee has been aligned, has been successfully aligned so beautifully into the entire process that he feels part and parcel of the organization. Now, once the hotel commences now, interesting thing is going to be happening is that employees are going to be on the crossroad. They'll be onto the intersection. He will be thinking, should I take my old route, old habit of doing things, or should I change? Today, the time has come that you do not have much of a time to think or ponder on or decide. You have to immediately take a newer approach, because earlier on it was MDR approach, which we used to call it, hoteliers, we call it as MDR, that minimum daily, what I'm required to perform, I must do that. But now the time has come that not only minimum what I'm daily required to perform, I have to go beyond. I have to increase my frame now. And that's where we call it as ownership. Every single person has to develop that ownership. And ownership means that I must own. It should the bus buck should not stop at the manager, the frontline managers. I said it should percolate down to every single employee, and therefore the employees will have to they'll have to they'll have to involve in each and everything. Now, not only in planning activity, but also in goal setting and execution. That's going to be very, very important, all the three things. And not only that, they'll also have to explain, ask themselves, why am I supposed to be doing this? Ownership is always asking why and how. Very, very important, how I have to perform so that I'm able to deliver to the customer what exactly is required. And at the same point in time, I must also not waste my own self energy, waste I must control cost. I'm supposed to control the manpower. I must also control the wasteful expenditure. That's going to be very, very important. That will play a very important role of ownership. Then what is going to be important, this ownership will also develop trust, not only in the management, but also in the customers also in the, and they will start thinking that, oh my god, this I must come. And this, with this help of this ownership drive, you'll be able to develop that warm. We call it word of mouth publicity. People will start talking about it. Like what we are doing in today's session, it will definitely go across to the people and they will talk about good things, that this was a wonderful takeaway from this session. So you have to be very genuine. Ownership is all about being genuine. You can learn the ownership from your parents, from your family. Your father, mother, they take ownership in each and every activity of the house. Mother doesn't say it is not my job, or father doesn't say it's not my. Today you can see fathers are brooming in home. There is no maids there. The father is doing that. Mother is, maybe my father is coming to chop onion and peel tomatoes. And how beautifully people have started. The silo approach has gone, and ownership has come in slowly and gradually. Ownership is solving problems, rather escalating problems to the same level. And that's what exactly ownership is all about. It is mine, and I have to ensure that today these customers or these guests have come after a long, long time. They are coming with loads and loads of expectation from us because they were away from us. What best I can do, I must do that. That's my ownership. It's not the hotel of my bosses. It is my hotel. It is my place. It is my thing. And once that happens, you will not do any kind of mistake, and you'll definitely get into ZDDP process, which we call it as zero defect delivery process as such. That's what ownership is all about.
Very true. But I think it needs a lot of working here as far as the employees are concerned, because unfortunately we've been in too much of comfort zones, and we've been only handling our portfolios and nothing beyond. We've not even, actually been peeping into any other department or wanting to learn rather,
Right.
because that knowledge has been very limited to our area, and that too limited in our area also. It has been limited. We've not even grown in our own areas, so that is, I think, a major concern. Major concern. Yeah.
Post COVID-19, Taranji, a lot of challenges are coming, not only at the senior level, at the lower level also, as what figures were communicated by Anup sir, that how many jobs have finally gone. Now it is very, very important that every single person has to fasten his or her seat belt, because they'll have to come with a growth mindset of ownership, that this is my place and this is how I need to deliver. This is my hotel, and I have to ensure that every single minute of mine counts. Very important.
Right. Anup was saying something. Anup?
Yeah, no, I think Jaydeep brought that out very beautifully, the sense of ownership. And the reference that I had made to that, saying that it won't happen magically, is also got to do with the cultural change that every organization, just not hotels, I think it's across organizations, there has to be a very different culture that will set in. Yes, it's a very fair expectation to say that when I enter a hotel, I'm expecting great food, great service, a great product. But what's going to change is this: hygiene was a core factor, but I think it's come out to the right to the forefront now. Hygiene, sanitation, these are very visible touch points for the consumer today, especially in the hospitality business. I think there's a paradigm shift in the touch points that we're going to be noticing. And then every team member of the organization has a personal accountability there. So, for example, hotels have been training their team members to say that if you see something unclaimed as a bag, notify us. So that's gone, that's internalized it. So this new culture has to be internalized. And that's, I think Jaydeep brought out very beautifully, sense of ownership. And I would like to just add on, then it becomes personal accountability of each and every individual to adopt to that culture. That's all. That's
Very
something
true.
that
Very true.
And that's what exactly, if you look at it, Grofers or Swiggy's and rest of the companies have started working onto that, which was never seen by them or for them and from them by us. Today, the moment he comes to deliver a product to us, he makes sure that we see that he's sanitizing, he's giving a very sanitized stuff to us, building confidence and trust, and at the same time telling that I am not coming from Grofers, you're taking the stuff from Deepak or Suresh and Sunil, because that ownership you can see from his face, and that really counts a lot in terms of building trust and confidence in the customer as such.
Yes,
I think they've
that's
tried
right.
to institutionalize this. The whole process has institutionalized. That's the way the industry is going to move forward.
Very right. And I think as we are saying that Sudesh and Ramesh will be actually coming and servicing you, it's more on your own personal branding which we need to work on.
That's
you know,
right. That's right.
who we are, and we are of course representative of an organization, but then as an individual, how proactive we are on the situation, and how much we are proactive to the needs of the consumer and stepping up rather than just doing the basic, right? So I think
And
this is all a combination of our own skill sets and our attitudes towards the sensitivity around.
And what's going to add to this is that how this whole pandemic has shown world has been suffering, and how people are talking about social distancing, service from away. You're trying to do a contactless delivery. So I think it's been visible. It's been in and out. The moment you put on a media, you will see this only. So for the last 3 months, in everybody's mind it has gone. That's the way that should be done. So I think some things have gone inbuilt into a personnel. It all depends again. How willing worker is he? Is he willing to accept change and adopt it? Because there will be a filtration process from the employer side. When the occupancy is not, when the hotels don't have permission to open 100%, if they're going to operate on 30% or 50% occupancy as per the state governments or the central government, obviously no employer is going to hire 100% staff. So he will filter only those who are able to deliver that level, that benchmark level. So I think automatically it plays both ways.
That's true.
Well, what you've just said, it's not only the hoteliers, there's the hotel management school, because I can see some of the hotel management school professors are also sitting and listening to our session. They need to start working on this personal branding. Maybe a course can be designed and developed. A curriculum could be changed on creating personal branding. Maybe in the 4th year of the curriculum, it can be done. Or hoteliers, for that matter, they can train their staff on personal branding, because the moment he enters the hotel, he's not coming to the Hyatt's or the Taj he's meeting the person concerned, and how he delivers is very, very important. Does he feel proud? Does he feel proud of the fact that he's interacting with him or her, as a case may be? So that branding, personal branding, is very important, and newer nuances or finer aspects of branding needs to be taken care of. Probably, maybe HSC can design a program wherein you can have a very quick session on personal branding, demonstrable branding to the customer from the employees as such, and which can inculcate and which can develop that ownership drive through that personal branding.
Sure. Point well taken. So I think we'll move forward, and this whole communication has moved towards the habits. The before habits, there is an attitude which is so very important, and that has to be cultivated into a sort of habit. Cultural change has to happen. That environment has to be given to the consumer, as we well said. So, but then how will the entire setup, end of the day, if we can, take this conversation to a level where we say that, okay, this entire setup, if we contribute, it will definitely add to the growth of the professionals. So, Anup, if you can take this question forward.
Yeah, so Taran, I think in every crisis, we all find an opportunity. And I think that should be the mindset that professionals should have, especially those who are in a growth mindset, frame of mind, fantastic, great place to be in. But if there are professionals who are in a fixed mindset and are not willing to change, I think they will struggle. But this is the opportune time. There is no other option. We've been pushed to the wall, and we've never faced a situation like this. So this is an opportune time to kind of prove ourselves. But for that to happen, that the mindset will have to change. And let me just elaborate that with an example. If there could be a situation when professionals don't like to be challenged, and they'll have to move to the mindset of saying that it's okay. I'm being challenged in my work environment. It's for my benefit. There are times when professionals don't take feedback in the right manner. They take it very personally. And that's a fixed mindset. So when feedback comes your way, a growth mindset person will have, will automatically say this feedback's good for me, it's being said for me, it's for my benefit, not taking it personally. Just to kind of give you two examples out here, what that can happen to the growth of a professional as far as the mindset can change. Look at what the pandemic has done to us in the last 3 months. Demonetization could not achieve what the pandemic did as far as digital currency is concerned. It has done it so beautifully in the last 3 months. So I'm sure there's a lot that can be done with the growth of professionals as long as each one of us is open. If I have to kind of look back at, just kind of narrate from my experience of life, for many years I used to say that food and beverage business is the only business that I know. And I used to say that very proudly. But if I look at my journey, I think at some point there was a trigger in my mind saying that how can I use my talents a lot more better? Simple. To some extent, maybe when I was making that earlier statement as a fixed mindset, but having moved to that growth mindset, saying that hey, I can use my talents much more better, is what every individual needs to do. And everyone has it in him. Each one of us has that potential. So reinventing, constantly reinventing, unlearning what's been learned, because clearly, as they say, every 2 years, 50% of the knowledge becomes redundant. So I've got to learn new things. And what got me here will not get me there. So I've got to keep upskilling. So being open to change, reinventing, and this, I think, will give rise to new behaviors, new skills, and new experiences.
Right. I think fixed mindset to growth mindset is a very, very deep subject, which everybody should go through. In fact, learn, unlearn, and still learn and keep learning. I think that would really add to the growth of every individual, and end of the day, it will contribute to the organization as well. So I think this pandemic has been, if you really see, it's a beautiful opportunity if we really see, to do our SWOT, which Mr. Nair said, and then, over and over, introspect in our own respective spaces. And then the whole organization has to contribute to it with the help of the right culture, mindset, and the trainings. Because once those trainings are, given to the departments, various departments, I think it's a hand holding. It's a direction which is given to them. And there's a step up there. Mr. Nair, you have any point on this?
No, I think the slide which Anup put on fixed mindset versus the growth mindset, I think it says it all. I think at the end of the day, I think there are so many examples, so many points which only point to one thing is what as an individual do you want to do? How open are you to change and how open are you to adapt yourself to the new environment? Fortunately or unfortunately, we are in a new environment today. Everything has changed. The way we work, the way we eat, the way we travel, everything has changed. So why not the way we do a professional job? It has to come. It will come. And I think people who have been able to, adapt to new skills, learn new skills, new technologies. I know a lot of people who have used this time to do online courses, free online courses, sharpen their skills in Excel and PowerPoint presentations, go towards digital marketing. Because once the companies reopen, one thing will happen is that print media is out, but digital marketing is going to change. So you see a lot of freelance, digital marketing specialists who want to advise companies to work from, how to carry forward their business.
Right. And we've seen a lot of ventures which have come up in the crisis, situations. And
Yes.
HSC is one of them. So we didn't take much time and we just jumped in and we started doing our bit. So taking this forward, I think it's very, very clear that if we have a clear understanding of all the potential risks and even we set clear priorities, then we can actually translate a situation to a reliable and an agile, responsive situation and move forward on it. And I think develop on it. So that is very, very important. And I think we can definitely do it to make our future work safe, robust, and inclusive. So now I would like to thank everyone of
yes, sir. Karan,
yes, sir.
Now very little time is left now. Probably happy days are all over now. COVID-19 has given some time. Is over now. We have to start working seriously, all of us as hoteliers, the employees, and as well the line managers or the top management. We'll have to we should seriously start thinking, because in 2 to 3 months' time we'll be having soft opening of the hotels, because from hopefully by Monday you'll start your hotel with 30% occupancy or 20% occupancy as case may be. But somewhere from October, November, probably you'll have occupancy. But the expectations of the customer is going to be immense. It's now the time, next 2 to 3 months, if at all they have not worked, they should start working with what number of people they want to have within the organization, what kind of technical technology they're ready to bring in, what are kind of attributes required, and so on, because they need to prepare themselves now.
Yeah. And move with the speed. Yes, yes. And move with the speed. So speed is also equally important.
Very, very important. Very important.
So thank you so much, Anup. Thank you, Mr. Nair. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for this enlightenment. And we would now request our episode partner to just tell us what value add they are doing under HMS. Over to you, Manish. Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Manish. Thanks a lot. Now I would request Mr. Surya Narayanan K. He's just to introduce you. He actually contacted me through LinkedIn when we had posted the episodes, information on LinkedIn. And he's a very, very senior person. He's a business strategic consultant, and he's self-employed, but he's been from the Indian Institute of Engineering Technology in Coimbatore. Actually, he's with us right now, and he wants to say something. Over to you, Mr. Surya Narayanan. Sir, you can speak now. You may unmute and speak.
Hello. Hello, Namaskar. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Namaskar to all of you there and good wishes. In my opinion, such discussion itself is a healthy beginning to face the new normal. All along in hospitality industry, a basic norm is human touch. Right from welcoming the guest to taking care of the guest would expect a human to take care of them. But post COVID, I personally believe that the guests themselves would prefer more of an automation enable them for self-service rather than a human assistant. Number one. Number two, the future automobiles are going to be electrical. So the car parking slot in hotels should probably add on electrical charge station facility to as an additional facility. These are the few things that have come to my mind. So I have exited the hospital industry in the late 90s itself, but my heart is with this industry. So my heart full of good wishes to all of you there. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank you, Mr.
much for your
Surya.
insight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we would request the participants, in case you have any queries, you may take them up. We are open to the queries, or otherwise you can put it in the chat box. Ashish, if there are any queries, we can
Yeah,
take it
we
up.
have a question from Deepak Sabharwal. Can we unmute Deepak Sabharwal, please?
Answer. Deepak ji, you can speak now.
Deepak Sabharwal?
Deepank Sabharwal, if I am not wrong.
Maybe, I don't know. Give me a moment. Let me check once again.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Deepank, you can speak.
Sir, I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Sir, I'm a final year student, and sir, I want to know, as the current situation, what should we do as we are lost our placements? We are lost our placements, and the current path has been sabotaged. So, what is your opinion regarding us?
What is the question? What is the question?
So he's saying that the current position is that our future placements have been, put in abeyance because we don't know what is going to happen in a few months. So that's the concern.
Mr.
What
Sabharwal,
should be the right step?
you need not worry. I'll take this question. Probably Anup and my Mr. Nair could also develop this question. He can ask this question. He need not worry about the job at this point in time because you still have time, and in fact, the hotels will open up, inshallah, in times to come. You don't have to worry this unending story. Hotels will open up. The only things what you really need to do is you really need to introspect. Are you having those differentiator vis-a-vis to the rest of the people who are going to be coming from the hotel management school back into the mainstream? What are those differentiators you have with you? You have to really identify. If you feel that you do not have those differentiators right now, need to develop. You need to develop because now the time has come. The management or the hotel managers will not have a time to train you. It will be exactly like 2 minutes noodle. The moment you enter, you'll have to perform. You'll have to start performing. They will not have a time for probation. They will not have to have time for training you guys. What you really need to do is you need to not only you need to upgrade your skills. That's going to be differentiator for you. If at all you say that I'm good at F&B, you should say I am not only good at F&B, I'm good at production, I'm good at housekeeping, I'm good at accommodations management. That is going to be a differentiator. That's how you'll be able to get into the hospitality world. People will immediately like to have Sabharwals like you back into the mainstream. Hope this answers your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah,
True.
Mr. Sabharwal, maybe I'll just give you a little bit of a background. Way back in 91, when we were passing out of IHM, and our only options at that point of time was to only enter the hotel industry or a cruise lines. And I think my co-panelist also will relate to that era I'm talking about. The Iraq war hit out, and boom, all recruitments that were supposed to happen and all the campus interviews that were supposed to happen also similarly kind of got cancelled. But having said that, you need to look at what your options ahead are. Today, as we speak, the hospitality industry students are well sought out of after, just not from the hotels. There's a wide range of opportunities out there. You have your social media to kind of assist you. And let me just pinpoint that to you. It's been a great journey for me. And if I had to say that, yes, I had a choice of being a butler at the Park Sheraton hotels or being a management trainee at Quality Inns. I made the choices. And I guess universe has a way of providing for everyone. So hang in there and all will be good for you too.
Yeah, I think you said it right. And also today, the students from hotel management colleges have so many opportunities, not only confined to hotels. You have retail, you have telecom, you have banking. Though there is a glut in most of the entire industry, but I think still the options are available. And even if the data says that if 100 students pass out of the hotel management college, hardly 30 to 40% are going to the mainstream hotel industry. Rest are all diversifying into various different CRM activities which are available today. So Kunal, I don't think you need to worry. I think there's a time you should need to sharpen your skills, gain more knowledge, add more skills, learn new things, so that you are better than the colleague of yours. The student, the next colleague of yours who's passing out also, how do you outweigh him? You have to outrun him. Let's be very simple. I hope he is.
Well, I believe you pretty much made it clear for him, unless we have lost him. Let me check.
No, sir. I'm there, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any further question or we wind up?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. So thank you all our special participants for the day who have invested time with us today. And of course, once again, I thank Mr. Nair, Mr. Jaideep Singh, and Mr. Anup for being with us and spending time with us. And thanks for the enlightenment on the topic for the day today. Thanks so much. Stay in touch and be a part of HHC. We look forward to more interactions, powerful interactions with you in future. Just to announce that our next episode will be on August 8th, which happens to be a Saturday. And this is going to be a special series of happiness. So Conversation with Tea will be a part of it, with some happiness spread around, because enough of COVID, we've been talking about it with a lot of serious issues. I think we'll take it to a next dimension of positivity and happiness. We look forward to having you all there with us on the coming week, Saturday. And for membership benefits, you can always call us or email us on our email ID, info@happyhotelierclub.com. And we look forward to having you in the forthcoming episodes. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Taran. Thank you, Ashish.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dheeraj.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.